Welcome to Life with Laurie. Laurie's very special guests are Jim and Laurie's best friends, John and Joyce Caruso. And now here's your host, Laurie Graham Baker.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life with Laurie. Here I am with, like Penny said, mine and Jim's two best friends, John and Joyce Caruso, who you're going to meet in just a minute, live here on the Phoenix set at Studio C at Morningside, USA. I am so excited. John and Joyce, thank you so much for coming all the way from Burbank, California. I love you so much.
I know.
They're such a part of our lives, and a part of my life, a part of Jim's life, and we're going to spend the next few minutes sharing with you some great stories about, well, from the time Jim and I met to the time we got married in your backyard to, well, you just never know what God's going to do through me right now and where I'm going to go. I have 21 years of stories with John and Joyce. So just get ready, everybody. Hold on. This is going to be fun. And also, I believe it's going to be an inspiration of what true friendship means and what true friendship, what it's like to have somebody that God puts in your life that you call friend. And that's exactly what John and Joyce have been to us. So before we go on with all that, I have a little sneak peek to share with you. Airing today on Jim Bakker's show is Dr. Cheryl Selman and Dr. Emmett Blair, and they came and discussed the great benefits of hemp and curcumin. You do not want to miss these shows that are airing today, tomorrow, the next day. You're going to love hearing what Dr. Emmett Blair and Dr. Cheryl Selman have to tell you about the products that you love and know, the hemp products. Also, next week, you're also going to see John and Joyce Caruso on the Jim Bakker show. And, oh, we had so much fun, and we really ministered and talked about how God does use friendship in such beautiful ways. And you're also going to want to stay tuned next week on Jim Bakker's show for Dr. Lance Wallnow. He will be on the show, and he has new info he's bringing to us, fresh new words that he has for us. So you're not going to want to miss Dr. Lance Wallnow. Now, this last week, I actually, I like to be honest with you guys, I actually didn't do a Life with Laurie this past week because I was down with an upper respiratory infection. I mean, I was laid out, but I did keep working. Tiffany would bring me books, or my book, More Than I Could Ever Ask. There I am in bed, signing books to you. I did get up enough to do that, and that's part of our product offers as well. And actually, my book, More Than I Could Ever Ask, starts, Joyce and John, in your backyard on our wedding day. When you open up the book and you go to chapter 1, it's called The Tabloid Stole My Tribute. That's a whole story in itself. When Andre Crouch was there singing, "To God be the glory for the great things he has done," and all of a sudden a helicopter came flying over your backyard in the Burbank Hills. Remember that? See the helicopter? We even got a picture of it. I love it. But that's where my book starts, and it goes back and forth into my past, into what God's delivered me from, and also Jim's book, mine is More Than I Can Ever Ask. Jim's book, I Was Wrong. We had them both reprinted. Last time we'll have them reprinted in hardback editions. So that's for a gift of $58. Also, yesterday I presented Joyce with my brand new skincare line. It's beautiful. You're going to love it. You have the hydrating toner, which I love. Oh, Joyce, you're going to love that hydrating toner. The daily face wash, the day and night cream, and the anti-aging eye cream. All of that is for a gift of just $162, these products. And just remember that with these products, when you get these products, you purchase these products from this show, Life with Laurie, by calling PTL. You call the PTL network, or you go to PTL.com, the shop. All the proceeds go to help sponsor Laurie's House, to help save children from being aborted, and to help their precious mamas along life's pathway. And that is what all the proceeds go for when you purchase products from us. Now, because I was sick in bed, I have to tell you, something that really saved me was the silver lozenges. The silver lozenges, absolutely. So here's the deal. When you buy one box, you get the second box half off. And I don't think I could have made it through the Jim Bakker show tapings yesterday. I don't think I could have made it through all last week. I wasn't talking. I couldn't talk. But these lozenges were so healing for me and helped me so much that I even have a few. If you happen to get a little tickle, guys, in your throat, just go ahead and take a lozenge, and they really work. So we have both of them for $22.50. Buy the first box and get the second box half off. And all the proceeds will go to Laurie's house to help save those precious babies. We just had a couple babies, by the way, a brand new baby boy named Adam and a new little baby girl named Aurora Sunshine. And so I'm so excited for these babies to be born here at Laurie's house. So everything you purchase, any products, you can also just go to ptlshop.com and you can see all the different products that we have, or call us at 1-888-777-3530. So now that I got all that housekeeping out of the way, I'm going to spend a few minutes, and we just really only have a few minutes, John and Joyce. I'm going to spend a few minutes with you talking about us, about you and Jim. And well, Jim's not here. This is Life with Laurie, but if he was here, we'd make it a lot of fun too. But it was just, I just have to go back to when I first met you. First of all, John, you met Jim. John and Joyce, you both met Jim before I met Jim, right? Isn't that how the story goes? I'm pretty sure it is. And so you guys met him at the Dream Center in Los Angeles, right? And that's the Dream Center. It's off of the 101 in LA, where a lot of people who come out of rough times of life, they go there and they get restored. But John and Joyce were there to help support the Dream Center, so people that have gone through drugs and alcohol or prison or whatever it is they've been through, they come there to be healed and restored back into it, and hopefully saved, by the grace of God, and get their lives together. And you were actually there to support that ministry, and that's why you guys were there.
Yes.
But I love the story, and I wasn't there, so I have to go by how the story goes. When Jim got up to preach on that Thursday night service, and he was talking to all of these guys that had been in prison, and I guess a lot of them stood up, and you were actually there, right?
Yes.
And so then Jim was like, he's trying to connect with the guys and the girls out there. And he goes, I've really never met, and I hope I don't embarrass you, John, but I never really met a rich or a wealthy, however he said it, millionaire or a happy millionaire. Is that how he said it?
Happy millionaire.
And so afterwards, you went up and introduced yourself to Jim, and what did you say?
Well, I hate to say it, but
Say it. It's Life with Laurie. People love reality, John. Come on. This is a good show. Let's go.
he was heading out the back door. I was watching because I knew which way he was going to go, so I was standing at the door.
I love John.
When he went out, and I said, because he said when he was preaching, he said he never met any wealthy person that they're happy.
Right.
So I had my hand out and I said, Jim, may you meet a happy millionaire.
And it wasn't like you were born into wealth or anything. You guys are self-made. I mean, ever since you were very young and newly married. Now, how many years have you been married now, Joyce?
63 going on 64th.
Almost their 64th wedding anniversary. Yay! If I had a studio audience, I'm just going to clap. Look at them. I caught those pictures. Look at those pictures. I always catch them kissing. They're always kissing. It's the cutest thing ever. I love that. I love the affection. I love the kissing. It's sweet. And you have 3 grown children,
yes.
9 grandchildren.
Right.
And but John and Joyce, I was just so amazed by them because I'd only known Jim. We were trying to figure all this out time-wise. It's in the book. I should probably read my book again. Could you guys just go ahead and order these books and then let me know about my story. Seriously, they I don't know how to. You guys met Jim, and then I came into Jim's life. I know this. I came into his life July 16th. 1998, and I met Jim at the Dream Center as well, the exact same spot that you met Jim.
Right.
We met as soon as you go out of that gymnasium at the time, in the alley in the Dream Center, with a lot of graffiti on the walls, and Jim had, his son Jamie had introduced us, and then Jim asked if he didn't actually ask, he had like an assistant or something come up and ask if I would like to go out to eat with them after church on Thursday night. We had both been at that Thursday night service at the Dream Center. And I was there to speak to a lot of wounded, hurting women, probably about 1,000 women that next morning. So I didn't know Jim Bakker. I knew Jamie, his son, but I didn't know Jim, and I didn't know that he perceives rejection when there is none. And he's very shy in person on a one-on-one, and he doesn't talk a lot on a one-on-one. Isn't that true, you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
They absolutely know the truth. That is true. But when he gets on television,
Different.
or he's different.
Different person.
Completely different person. Or he's preaching behind the pulpit.
Yes.
Completely different person. So I actually turned him down and said, I can't go out with you all tonight for whatever, coffee, pie, and all that. I have to go study. I really was serious about it, too. I was preparing my heart to minister to all of these broken, hurting women at the Dream Center. And so the next day, after I got through ministering, which it went from like 10 in the morning till about, it was probably about 4 in the afternoon. It was a long ministry time, and it was because God was just using me as a vessel just to set a lot of these women free. And so it was a long ministry session of praying with women. And I don't like to say it's so weird, but it kind of was wild. It was like, I'm not a demon caster outer, but demons were coming out of people. And I'd never really been used like that before. So it was really intense. And so these girls that I was discipling and mentoring, so to speak, they were friends with Jamie, Jim's son. And they all decided that after that ministry time, they said, well, why don't we go out and do something fun in LA? Like, let's go to the observatory, the big observatory. Mm-hmm. And a lot of movies have been shot there and everything. And so we were following this white Jeep. And I said to the girls driving, I go, whose white Jeep are we following and who's in that Jeep? And they go, oh, it's just Jamie. And I go, and his dad? Like, are you guys setting me up with Jim Bakker? Oh my gosh. Because Jim's, I never thought about it. He's 18 years older than me. And I just thought, that's crazy. That's Jamie's dad. So next thing I know, we're at the observatory. And one of my girls sat me down. Jim and I we spoke for a while. And we walked around the observatory. And he was talking about meteorites and things like that. And I'm like, he's not a typical preacher, he's not like got the Bible in one hand and all. And I said, oh my goodness, he's very interesting. So the next thing I know, one of my girls takes me outdoors and she said, Laurie, don't you see that this is the one? Don't you see that he's the one God's chosen for you? I'm like, you've got to be kidding. I don't really see it. But I walked into the observatory and I saw Jim. It was like blinders were ripped off of my eyes. And he was looking out at this big, huge telescope into the heavens and into the universe. And I looked at him and I thought, oh my goodness, he is cute, he's sweet. Look at him. He wasn't like the typical preacher that I had just kind of was used to in life. So within a week, probably, he takes me to meet you two. And because he had asked me to marry, I'm going to have myself. No, about a week, he takes me to meet you two. Isn't that how it goes? No. Joyce, this is where she's good. Help me figure this out, Joyce. You guys went to go look for property because Jim knew in his spirit he was going to start television again.
A new ministry.
Mm-hmm. So you, John, drove Joyce and Jim around, and you were looking at property in the LA to Big Bear area, right?
Right.
Well, this property was at the foot of the foot of the mountain, and we just drove up to the property, and he says, no, it's not. He says, I don't have no feeling for it. Let's go.
That's how he is.
Never even opened the gate because it was gated, just a chain link fence.
See, this part of the story I really didn't even know.
And so we were at the foot of the mountain, and I said, well, as long as we're this far, it's only another 20 minutes to our condo. So
In
we
Big
went
Bear.
up to the condo.
Yeah, so you guys all ended up there, and what you didn't know maybe at the time was that Jim had promised to call me, and I didn't hear from him all day and all night because Jim had left my phone number to his next to his landline. Back then, we just didn't have cell phones that we were picking up and calling everything, or Facebook. We could check each other out or anything, no social media, and so. He didn't call, so I just literally talked to my mom. I said, well, he's just another one, just another guy that's not, whatever. Just another guy that just stands you up. And because I'd just been through so much in my life, and I was so wounded by men, and I just needed to see that there was somebody that was true to his word. Mm-hmm. And he didn't call. Well, long story short, through a series of different phone calls he made, he finally found my mother's phone number, and he called my mom and asked my mom if it would be okay for her that if we got married, and asked for my hand in marriage, basically. Kind of cute. I mean, Jim was 58, my mom was 60, and kind of cute. And I was like 40. So all that to say that we went on this little thing where 7 weeks from the time we met to the time we married, literally from the day we met to the day we married in John Joyce's backyard in the hills of Burbank, California, overlooking the studios. We traveled all over. We talked to so many people, getting to making sure, like spiritual covering, that they were good with this marriage, covering from my mom, covering from my dad. Oh, I have a funny story about my dad. I don't know why I just have to tell this story. This is for someone out there. And guess what? I may keep John and Joyce for 30 minutes longer, and you'll get to hear a little bit more about the story next week. I may hold on to, we may do that. But my dad, when I took Jim to meet my dad, and he in Phoenix, Arizona, there he is, walking me down the aisle. Look at him, Big Bob. Oh God, my dad, he was very sick our wedding day, but he made it, and he was with us a year and a half later before he passed. But my dad, when Jim took me to meet my dad, I took Jim to meet my dad. My dad had his home office because he had his gambling situation that he ran, his poker tables and stuff. So I go, Jim, you got to meet my dad, So my dad sits Jim down on the other side of his desk. Reverend, he called him the Reverend. He said, Reverend, you sit there, little girl. That's what he called me. You sit here next to your daddy. And I said, okay, Dad. So I'm thinking, so Jim does the proper thing, and he asked for my dad, the hand in marriage and all that. And my dad looked at him. He said, Reverend? He looked at me, he goes, little girl. And this is what he said to me. And he scooted up like this big man. He weighed like 380 pounds. He scooted up and he said, now you listen to me. And he's talking to me. And he said, now you listen to me. If I ever hear you ever scream back to this man that God has given you, the greatest man in the 20th century. Remember, it's 1998, so we were still in the 20th century. The 20th century, the greatest man. If I ever hear that you've talked back to him, that you've yelled at him, I'm like, Dad, you're supposed to be telling him this. You're not me. Wait, this is bad. He goes, and Jim goes, Bob, it's okay. My dad's name was Bob. Bob, it's okay. And he goes, Reverend, you don't know my little girl. She's a pistol. And it's true. I have been a pistol, but you know what? God meant it for good. And I'm always grateful for that conversation, because to this day, I hear my dad's voice in my head. When I do get a little riled up, about the kids or the ministry or whatever, because those things really do happen in life, that I'm going, I hear my dad. And it's almost like God used it, like my Heavenly Father, like Laurie, settle down. I know the beginning from the end. We're going to work this all out. Just calm down. And it's like he used my dad that day. And I hear my dad's voice sometimes go, little girl, you need to stop it. Stop stop yelling at the man of God, and all that. So I have great respect for my husband. But next, I want to talk about a couple of things. So we went, because we only have a few minutes left, and I think we're going to carry on. We were, therefore, engaged from your Big Bear condo. Jim got the phone number from a friend, and he called my mom, asked for my hand in marriage to her. She said, well, yes, but you need to talk to Laurie. And then he called me the next day, so I had a whole night without him calling me. So I was pretty much made up my mind, this isn't going to work. But the truth is that when he called and he asked, I can remember where I was sitting on the little bed, and I said, yes, I'll marry you. So next thing I know, so he asked in the Big Bear. Now tell me real quick, you guys spent the night in Big Bear, but you didn't plan on. So Joyce, what did you have to do? You had to go to the store.
I did.
To get some necessities.
I did. I had to go to Walmart, not Walmart, Kmart.
Mm-hmm.
And there I am. I started out in the toothbrush and
Joyce,
toothpaste
you understand,
and
she's Miss Hospitality.
Shaving equipment. And then I wandered over to the underwear department and the pajama department.
Because you had to get Jim Bakker some underwear and pajamas,
yes,
right?
Right, exactly. And while I'm there, I'm thinking to myself, if my mom could see me now, of course, that was a long time ago. So if my mom could see me now, and
making sure this man of God was taken care of overnight.
Yeah, I'm buying underwear for Jim Bakker.
Exactly. I don't know why we have so many underwear stories with Jim, but I could tell you a lot of them. It's like, you're part of the family when he's got the T-shirt and the underwear on, and that's all. I'm like, honey, put something on, please. Oh, we have a lot of stories. But all that to say, so then, so the Big Bear condo. So then now we're engaged, but not like with a ring or anything. Not like he got down on one knee. We just said, yes, okay, it's good. We're good to go.
Can I interject something here?
Yes, please. I'm learning about my own life here.
So I'm up there with Jim.
Yes.
And she's down shopping.
Yes.
And so he's got his pants rolled all the way up here. He's got his shirt off, and he's sitting out in the sun like this.
Oh, that's a fun. I never knew that.
Yeah.
And the sprinklers came on.
Oh, and the sprinklers came on. That's a funny story, because I've been to the Big Bear condo so many times, I can just see the whole situation. That's funny. That's what he does, because we love to get in the sun, and we love to just, when you get some sunshine, you just bask in it for a little bit. And then he introduces you to you two, and you take us out to dinner, and then you took us to your big, beautiful home in Burbank. And what happened, Joyce? Tell me real quick that. Tell everybody that story.
Well, that's the night I met you.
Yes.
And then we went to the house, and
I wonder what you guys were thinking about me. Were you thinking that I was too young?
No.
No.
You didn't?
Never thought
about that.
You never did?
No.
Interesting. Never asked him that question. You guys just got a first on Life with Laurie. Okay.
And I had my daughter's decoration. I had all her flowers and everything.
Yeah.
And then I had another one that I had made up.
Yes.
And I brought you in, and I said, now, what kind of things do you want for your wedding? What kind of decor? Mm-hmm. And you picked my daughters, thank God, because I had more of that stuff.
And Joyce and John, do you know what they did for us, guys? They literally set the whole wedding up for us. I remember, John, you rented all those white chairs, because I think the story...
we got them free.
Oh, we did get those free?
Got everything free.
God is so good. We had four ministers marry us: Tommy Barnett, Matthew Barnett, Lloyd Ziegler, and the great R.T. Kendall. And of course, Pastor Barnett is my pastor, for life. And Matthew Barnett is the pastor of the Dream Center. And all these great men and women of God were there. But I didn't know Jim Bakker was so famous. First of all, you have to know how naive I was. I really didn't know who he really, really was. And so, are you thinking of something, John?
Yes.
Go.
So the wedding starts, and we're, doing everything around the house and getting ready for this thing. And so the wedding is started, and so now we're dressed, got our suit on, she's dressed up, and we walk in to sit down. Most of it was sitting. It was just ready to start. And so I walk in, and I says, where do we sit? She says, well, who are you? So we didn't have a seat. So she had
That
the
was
people
Faith. It
move
was
over.
Faith, right? Faith was
for us to
helping
see.
kind of oversee the wedding. Yes, I love you, Faith Tynes. And so, but she's like, "Who are you?" Because everything
She
was
didn't.
so thrown together. You guys have to understand. We met and married in 7 weeks. It wasn't like we were planning a wedding in 7 weeks. The wedding just was. It was a happening, and these two made it happen. And I am eternally grateful to both of you. So all of that was free. My wedding gown I borrowed from a friend. That was a borrowed gown, and also Jim's tuxedo was Sears.
I went to Sears and asked them.
You did?
Yeah, and they said yes, that they would.
See, isn't God good? He was so faithful, and you worked so hard to make sure that backyard was so gorgeous. I will always have a special place in my heart for that moment right there that you're seeing on television when God united Jim Bakker and Laurie Graham, Nell Baker, of course, together. I have so many great stories. We got to talk about. Okay, I have to leave. I literally have to leave in a few minutes, Ryan. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna just go on. We're gonna just do a quick little break, and you're gonna see part 2 next Wednesday. Listen to this. We got to talk about the wedding night. At your house. We've got to talk about who showed up the next day. Don't say anything yet. You're not going to believe who showed up a day late for the wedding. You're not going to believe who set the alarm off on the wedding night and who showed up that night. You're not going to believe the stories of London, Australia, Women's Glow. Oh my goodness. I should have known those first 2 months of our marriage. It was like a prophetic 2 months of what was to come these past 21 plus now years. Mm-hmm. And so for me, this has just been so easy and enjoyable because John and Joyce, when we go see them in Burbank and go to their home, I just like their other room. I just call it our room, mine and Jim's room. I just call it our room. I'm like, I feel, John and Joyce even came to see me last week when I just got out of my sick bed, and they're like, Laura, you can't have people over. I wasn't contagious or anything. I said, it's John and Joyce. They're a family. I could be in my pajamas. There's our picture right there, guys. That was when I got out of my sick bed, and I still have my pajamas on. So anyway, I can do that with John and Joyce, and that's what real friends are like. When you have a real friend, in Proverbs 17:17, it says, a friend that sticks closer than a brother. And that's what John and Joyce, you've been to us, to Jim and to me. And there's been times I've called Joyce crying over different situations, like we talked about on the Jim Bakker show when the paparazzi got us in Hawaii, and I cry. I call Joyce crying. And she'd have to settle me down because the long lens cameras got me in a 2-piece bathing suit, and I hadn't worn a 2-piece in like 15 years. I'm like, oh God, Lord. I'm like, what kind of life? What am I doing? What have I gotten myself into? But with all that, I just want to say, I pray. Jim Moy says this. Number 1, we want you to know Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior. Number 2, if I could give you anything else, it would be a friend. And today I'm sharing our best friends, John and Joyce, who I sit hours with and talk all the time when we're together. I love John and Joyce with all of my heart. I would do anything for you. And if I ever can do anything for you, you have to let me know because they don't like to bother us. And I know you're the same way. So I pray today for you that God would bring friends into your life. So bye-bye for now. Stay tuned for next week. You're not going to want to miss one moment. I love you. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys. It was good.